Okay. So, I am going to look at the PC culture. Politically correct. Is it ruining things? Has it bettered things? Is it good going forward? Is it bad going forward? Has it destroyed conversation? Has it bettered society? People are afraid to offend, but then they offend the afraid. So, I will say, just from my own opinion, I think both. I'm a Gemini, so I'm wishy-washy as it is. I have to hold both ideas. I see the good and the bad of everything, seems like. On one hand, yes, it is bad. I consider myself black, but I can't get white people to be comfortable with black. They have to say African American. So we have to have a conversation, and then they search for the word, because they would say black normally, but when they're in front of me, then they have to say, well, African American people. And then you have, that's just like the mild example. So we have a culture that is afraid to offend, which is fine. Well, like I said, on the one hand, it does alter conversation and does hinder conversation. On the other hand, there are some things that we just don't need to say anymore. Like, I always hearken back to Bill Maher when he did his new rules and said that the generation after us will say, oh my God, I can't believe you tolerated that. Just like our generation will look back on generations past and say, I can't believe you tolerated that. The Me Too movement exists because we existed in a time where men thought of women as property and not people. And so we look back on that age and think, oh my God, I can't believe y'all tolerated that. Well, that's just the way things was. But some people knew right from wrong. When you look back and you think about Jefferson and Washington and all those people who owned slaves. But John Adams, who was also of their time, said that this was wrong. So it's not like no one knew this was a bad thing. He told y'all that was bad, and you did it anyway. So you tolerated it. So we look back on generations past and we see such a thing and we think, oh my God, I can't believe they tolerated that. So PC culture is not all bad. It changes the narrative. It changes our environment. But let's see. Is PC culture good or bad for the world? The Magician. Many skills. 3 of Pentacles. Partnerships. 10 of Pentacles. Togetherness. Secure togetherness. 5 of Cups. Disappointment and regret. 8 of Swords. Bound and trapped. But the 8 of Swords is more along the lines in this context, I would say, not trapped, but engrossed, I would think. Because we have a 10 of Pentacles, which is about security and like wealth and all of that. But in this context, it's more of a tighter bond, especially when you couple it with the 8 of Swords. So this is more of a PC culture has sort of brought us, believe it or not, closer together, but sort of trapped together. So this is not always ideal or voluntary. This is, you have to be closer because we're making you. It's like when people say, I don't agree with same-sex marriage. You don't have to agree or disagree. Nobody's asking you to agree or disagree. They're asking you to respect. So you're in this area now to where you are trapped involuntarily in the new way things are done, if that makes sense. Like equal pay for women. There are many men and some women, as we have seen on the campaign trail for Donald Trump, that believe that women should not be the head. They should be subservient to men. But we are in an era now where you can never say such a thing out loud. PC culture. They say it anyway because you know how people are. But you shouldn't. PC culture. Has it made it better or worse? Right now, we're just saying that right now, with all of the things at our disposal, well, all of the different ways that we can communicate, that the magician has many different tools. Many different tools that we can to communicate. We are here together. This is something we can communicate together. We are also connected. Not only are we connected, but we're engrossed. We are severely connected. Like, you cannot say such a thing in my presence without lash or some sort of altercation sometimes from others. The Five of Cups is disappointment, and then you have death that follows. The PC culture brought a major change to some that just didn't like it. It all fell down. They didn't like it. They don't like it that you can't say what you want to say. And on one hand, I agree. You should be able to say what you want to say. And you can, just not without consequence. That's another part that they don't really care for, is the consequence part. Like, why do I have to be punished for saying that, you know, Mexicans are rapists and drug dealers? Like, I should be able to say that and nothing happened to me. Well, since we are here and we are sort of bound and engrossed together, what you will not do is disparage other people. And then when people come at you, get mad and offended. The major change has happened. You cannot be on the wrong side of history anymore. So PC culture is looked at as bad for some, and then it's like it's an imposition. It's you are imposing your rules upon me, and I don't want it. That's what this is. The fear, the tower, is that the PC culture will destroy society. I've heard this many, many times. I live in a Trump state, so I've heard this a lot. I've heard the snowflake speeches. I've heard all of that. Well, people are just weak. Okay, I get it. Back when we had the anti-bullying campaign, and there were people who were on the side of your children going to school, picking on other children, because this was a part of growing up. It teaches them how to be tough. It teaches them, it makes me into who I am today. Well, some of us, yes. Some of us, no. I can tell you from personal experience, it did not make me a better person for a person to call me faggot every day. I can tell you that PC culture has now sort of branded such a word as gauche, as something that is just very much not, kind of like the N-word and all these other, you know. And there's another one that needs to go. I tell, especially the young men in my family, bitches and hoes are dogs and gardening tools, not women. So this is never a word that you should attribute to women, unless you're trying to insult them. But just talking about women casually, saying, oh, bitch is this. No, we are not talking like that, especially not at my house. So the hopes, the Hierophant. That is interesting. The moral high ground. We know better than you. And it seems to be a generational thing. Like the millennials and the Generation Z or X or whatever's coming. Generation, what is it? Exoplanet. That's what Neil deGrasse Tyson calls it, so I will call it that. Generation Exoplanet. They are against sort of the 70s, well, not really the 70s, but the 50s and 40 babies. What, the baby boomers, is that what that was? Anyway, they're more sort of battling them, because that's who I run into a lot. That gives me the snowflake speeches. It's people born from, I say, 69 down. Then they give me the speeches of, I don't want to be imposed by other people's feelings. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, you do understand that right now you are imposing upon me your feelings about other people's feelings. But anyway, the environment, uphill battle. You got that right. This has been an uphill battle, but I'm asking, is it good or bad? So what's behind the scenes? Four of Cups. Moping. So yeah, what I'm saying is basically what's here. You know, the whole... Anyway, I'll go back through it. Word of warning, though, for PC culture. King of Pentacles. The people of stature, the people of... Not stature as in like money and fame and fortune, but people in our lives that are older than us are the ones that you have the problem with, especially men. They do not like that their world has changed the older that they get. Word of solace, justice. This is a card of balance. And the outcome, Seven of Wands. This is a card of defense and being on guard. You can't change this. The PC culture will keep evolving. For good and bad. I know your culture is not a Halloween costume, but calm down. Like, I get that you want everything to be a safe space for you, but it's not. That's not the way the world works. You know, if we have... You want, like, for instance, where I worked, there was an employee who was transgender, from female to male. Used the men's room. Who cares? Nobody cared. What we're not going to do is make a gender neutral bathroom. Like, you don't get your own bathroom because you don't feel comfortable. I don't like public bathrooms at all. Can I have my own bathroom everywhere I go? Is Target going to build me a new bathroom just for me? Is Walmart going to build me one? No. If you got to take a pee, go take a pee in the bathroom in which you identify with. I get that it's a thing because you may not be completely through with your transition and you may still look like a female or you may still look like a man or whatever. Okay, then hold it till your ass get home. But what we're not going to do is create a whole new bathroom so you can feel safe. That's just not going to happen. Because now we see you walking in the gender neutral bathroom. Now you have isolated yourself. Now everybody knows what's going on with you. Like, that's not really anybody's business unless you want it to be, that you are transgender. So what I'm saying is, your Halloween costumes, your gender neutral bathrooms, this is just not something that's going to happen overnight. There are still people who are going to dress up as Native Americans, call it Indians, Native Americans, and they're going to dress up as geishas. They're going to dress up as these different things, and your culture is not a costume. We get it. But it's still going to happen. You have all the tools of communication that we have now, cell phones, emails, Skype, blah, blah, and blah, blah. Comment sections of everything the internet has everywhere. Partnerships. We are connected to each other via all of these tools. We are here. It is a lot of us. We are all together. We share a space whether we want to or not. Which is why you have to have respect for other people's boundaries. It is not an easy transition, even for people of young age, to understand that you can't say everything you want to say. Just because you can does not mean that you should. There is your disappointment, and here's your major change. This is a major change, especially to the older demographic, but it's a change period for everyone. I still am not comfortable calling up one person a they. This is the thing now. That if you are not necessarily transgender, but you don't identify with either male or female, so you would like to be called they. Okay, that's fine. If you say that's what you want to be called, then that's what I will call you. But I am not yet there with calling a single person a they. That sounds insulting to me. To me. Not to them, but to me. I'm not calling you a they. It sounds dismissive. I'd rather know your name. But anyway, that's the fear. Is that we'll all crash down and we'll all sort of ruin society. This is the hope, is that the moral high ground in the old way, this is a card of tradition, the Hierophant. The way things used to be is the way we want things. The environment, the uphill battle with the Nine of Wands and the Four of Cups is moping and disappointment. So behind the uphill battle, behind, trying to get a better world for our children to live in, is some moping on the part of some people because things are changing and they don't like that. Your word of warning is the established old man, your grandfathers and things like that, that don't like the way that the world has changed. Women in charge and gay people in charge and, all of this. But there is balance for your word of solace. This will be balanced out, which is why they're still moping, because remember, the moping is coming from the older men. The balance in the uphill battle is what you have to hold on to. Your outcome being on guard and defensive. So this will still be a battle, because uphill battles do not stop just because you reach the top of the hill, because now you have to stay there. Sometimes staying on top is harder than getting there. So PC culture does not look like it's ruining society. It's not bad. It's just not completely accepted, is all. It can be a little sensitive, or a lot sensitive, but uphill battle, it's going to stay, so you might as well change with the times.